Hey everyone, Enes here. I'm bringing you guys to Worcester today, to the beautiful city of Worcester, to actually take a look at a multi-family property. I've shown you quite a bit of our fix and flip and new construction, but we haven't really touched too much on our rental portfolio and what we are buying as rentals, right, as long-term investments. So today we are in Worcester. We're going to show you guys what the property looks like, what we spent buying it, what's the rehab budget, and share some lessons learned, and hopefully you guys will be inspired by it. You can learn a thing or two and invest in real estate. So let's go. All right guys, so a few things I want to cover on this property is how we found it, how we finance the purchase of the property, the scope of work, and what do the renovations look like. And then I want to go over our buying criteria. So how does Whiteacre look at a multi-family property as a buy and hold, and how do we really run numbers, what to offer, how much to spend on rehab, and we're going to wrap this whole thing up with our BRRRR strategy. So stay with me to the end. You're going to learn a ton, especially if you like buy and hold rentals. And the reason why we like rental properties so much compared to our fix and flip is that it is mostly a passive income. So with fix and flips, you really don't have to be on site on a daily basis. You don't have to do continuously renovations that are heavy lifting like we do on the fix and flips, right? So we look at our rental properties and something that we can invest long term, and it has a lot of benefits. But the most important usually for us is the appreciation of the property, you know, the value going up, the depreciation, the tax benefits. And if you don't know what that means, we'll do another video. For now, maybe just go and Google that the term. The debt that we are paying down every month, and who is paying that really is the tenants that are living in the property. So that we can pay off loans in about 15 to 20 years, and that's one way to build wealth. So we love the strategy. Every few fix and flips, we buy a multi-family property, and usually the smallest we'll go for is 3 units, just so we can scale up and buy more. The numbers work better in multifamily, so that's the reason. The other thing that I want to bring up is our fix and flips are really a full-time job. So you got to go on site, you got to deal with contractors, you got to run numbers, but it's really a day-to-day job. And once you sell that flip, the income stops. So you got no more income. You might make money from one flip, but if you don't find the next one, there's really no money coming in. With rentals, it's totally different. You got this monthly income coming in from your rent every month, right? People call it mailbox money, whatever. I know nowadays a lot of people are paying online, but so basically we like that, we like the rent that comes in without us putting too much effort. And if we stop working, if we want to take a 1 month off vacation or whatever, the property obviously is still making us money. So that's what we love about rental real estate. Now back to this building, how we found it. This was a direct mail. If you guys have watched my videos, you know mostly we buy through direct mail. However, this was a very old lead for us. The gentleman called us, I think, over probably 3 years ago, and that was the first phone call. We were trying to buy another property from him. That didn't work out. And usually, if something like that happens, you forget about that lead. I mean, 3 years ago, right? Who remembers? We got lucky here because he saved our number and he called us about this property when he was ready. We should have also been a little bit more proactive and continuously followed up with him. We didn't do that. So that's one lesson learned, that have a good CRM, plug all your leads into one place, and make sure you create follow-ups, because you never know when that lead, when that homeowner is ready to sell. In our case, if this gentleman didn't save our number, we would have never bought this property. And again, the lesson learned here is for us that we don't want leads to fall through the cracks, and it's very common for real estate investors to lose leads if they're not organized. And it's unfortunate because we spent thousands of dollars in marketing, and if someone doesn't want to sell now, we kind of forget about the person. We want to go after the easy picking fruit, someone that just called and shows interest now. And people that are selling, sometimes they're selling 6 months, a year, 2, 3 years in this case, after the first appointment. So be very careful with that. Make sure you are capturing all your leads, creating follow-up systems, because you don't want something like this where we almost lost a deal. And this is a great deal. I'm going to share the numbers in a second with you guys, but this is a really good deal in the city of Worcester. How we financed it. The way we financed this property was through a hard money lender. The seller here was tired. The reason why he sold to us actually was the issue with tenants. He didn't really want to fix toilets anymore. He didn't want to fix issues in regards to the property. He was tired. He was elderly, and he had pretty much enough of the tenants. So he said, hey guys, take it over. Can we close in 2 weeks? And because we wanted to actually put a deal together and address his issues, right, and present an offer that worked for him, we said, yeah, we'll close in 2 weeks as is, inherit the tenants, make it easy for you. However, in return, this is our offer price. So let's stop there for a second. It's not always about price. I say it over and over again. People will work with you on that price if you give them what they need. And in this case, we gave him a quick sale. He inherited tenants, which was huge for him because he didn't want to deal with tenants. He didn't want to deliver this place vacant. He just wanted to be done. And I think on the phone, that's what he said. I want to be done. Can we put a deal together? And so that's what we did. But I wanted to bring that up because you guys need to listen to the seller's needs and address and put an offer together that actually addresses those needs. So basically what we're going to do now, we have a hard money loan in place, and we borrowed 90% of the purchase from that hard money lender. And we also borrowed the construction cost, 100% of the construction. I think here somewhere between 70 and 80,000 is what we're going to spend on this building. And once we have tenants in place, then we're going to refinance with a local lender. That way we pay our hard money lender back, and then we get a loan that's long-term, maybe 15 to 20 years or so, at a lower interest rate. So that's the goal right now. Purchase with hard money, do the renovations, put a tenant in place, and then refinance with a local bank at a lower rate. I want to share with you guys the thought process behind our cash offer. Why did we offer and why did we buy this property for $243,750? Because at the end, that's what we ended up paying for this 5-unit in Worcester, which, if you know the Worcester market for a multifamily with 5 units, it's a really good deal. But let's move back a little bit, and I want to go over our rule of thumb here, which is the 1% rule. Every time we buy a rental property, we want the total amount of rents from the units, in our case from the 5 units, to be at least 1% of the purchase price. And we are estimating that the 5 units will bring in about $5,000 a month. The max we can pay for this property is $500,000. However, this property is not fully occupied. We only got 3 families living here on the 3 units, and the other 2 units that we'll show you guys, those are vacant. And from the 3 units that we are inheriting, I think we're bringing in about $2,500 in rent, because the landlord, the seller of the property, he kept the rent really low, so he didn't get calls from the tenants. He had tenants for a long time, and he kept the rent at about $800 to $850 per unit, which in this area is very low. Everything is over $1,000. So the reason why we offered and we bought this property only for $243,000 was really based on the rent that the building is currently getting in, which again was about $2,500. However, we know that we can add value to this property by fixing up the place and getting the rent amount up to market value. So that's why we were really interested in the property. We saw potential in adding value through the renovations, and we saw potential in increasing the monthly rent for every unit here, regardless if it's occupied or not. That was our upside in this deal. So we looked at that, we were excited, but we only paid and we only offered based on the condition of the property as is, and based on the income that we are collecting on day one when we buy it, not on what we can do, right? Anything that we can do 6 months, a year down the road, that actually should be our equity, that should be our profit in the deal. So that's why we were interested. We wanted to buy the 1% rule, but in this case, 1% turned only to be $2,500 a month, which allows us to pay $250,000 in upfront pretty much for the property. Now let's think about what this is gonna appraise later. We are now in the basement of unit 1, With some simple layout changes, we turned this unit from a 1-bedroom to 2 bedrooms. And anytime you guys can add bedrooms to a multifamily property, you're also increasing the income of that building, right? Because you got more bedrooms. And that usually translates into a higher monthly rate for that unit. And when that happens, now the building's value goes up because you got more rent on a monthly basis and the value of the building goes up. It will be most likely appraised by the bank at a higher rate. So that's what we did here on one unit. We changed it from a 1-bedroom to 2-bedroom. We're probably going to get about $1,000 a month. The attic one that we're going to show you guys, that is a 1-bedroom unit. We're going to get close to $1,000 for that one as well. And we are estimating for the whole building here to bring in about $5,000. And at $5,000, we know for sure that this building will be appraised at $500,000 on the back end once the work is done and once we are ready to refinance with the bank. So that's how we're adding value to it. We're adding value by buying it cheaper as is and inheriting the tenants, but looking at the potential here and doing our value add strategy to get it to the next level. Also, by buying the property at a discount and getting a good deal up front will allow us to execute on the BRRRR strategy. I do have a couple of videos on the BRRRR strategy, so go back, watch those. We did one on a condo in Rosendale where I broke down all the prices. So if you haven't watched that, please go back and take a look at it. But the only way to really work is if you buy right. And when we are buying at the 1% rule, or if you guys have watched my fix and flip videos when we talk about the 70% rule, then yes, the BRRRR strategy will work because you're buying at a discount. But let's talk real numbers and how the BRRRR strategy is going to work on this particular property here. We purchased it for $243,750, as I mentioned. Let's say we're going to be all in as far as renovations, about $100,000. And we're going to have about $20,000 in holding costs between the closings when we got the property, to the refinance with a local lender, to just holding it, let's say, for 8 months as we're doing the renovations, right? These are just rough numbers. So if you add these three numbers together, we are somewhere in the range of $365,000. However, if we finish it the way I just mentioned and bring in about $5,000 on a monthly basis and go to a local lender, they're going to bring in an appraiser, they're going to do a walkthrough, they're going to look at the quality of the work, they're going to look at our rent roll and see how much money we're bringing in every month. And I know for a fact they're going to value it at least $500,000 because there is comparable sales in this area for 3 to 5 units at $500,000. So I know for a fact that's going to happen based on comparable sales, but you can also base it on the income that's bringing in. People call that cap rate. If you want to know more about the cap rate, for now, Google it, and I will promise you I'll do a video on that soon. So the bank will bring in the appraiser. Let's say again that the number is $500,000. The bank is not going to give you $500,000 loan. They want us, the landlord, the owner of the building, to have skin in the game. So they are going to give us only about 75% of the value of the property. And the bank calls that number loan to value. So let's say it's a 75% loan to value. Quick math here, 500,000 times 75%, it's going to give us $375,000. Guys, I've done this math before, so I'm prepared. But it's $375,000. That's the loan that the bank will give us when we refinance. What that's going to allow us to do is pay our hard money lender back, the $365,000 that we borrowed from him, all in, right? The purchase, the construction, all of that. And now we have a new loan for $375,000. But that means that we took all our money out of the deal and we can go and buy another property. So let's stop there for a moment. That's really powerful. That means that we have no money of our own in the deal. Our cost all in was $365,000, and the bank is going to give us a loan for $375,000. So that means that we don't have any cash of our own in the deal, and we have pretty much an infinite return on this investment. So that is only possible if you buy right. It's unfortunately finding these deals on the MLS is becoming harder and harder. So I'm a big proponent of going direct to seller marketing, just like we found this property. But if you solve problems for the homeowner, like we talked about, then you're gonna get this type of deals. It's definitely, they're out there. It's definitely possible to find them. So that's why we love the BRRRR strategy. It gives us an opportunity to scale faster, get the money out of the deal, and buy the next property. If we didn't buy right, if we bought at market value, and we can't really refinance at that point because there's really no equity in the deal, that means that now we have to wait another 6 months, maybe 12 months, do a ton of flips to save money and get that money to put down for the next purchase. So it's a lot harder and it's going to take way longer. So when you buy right, you can refinance, take the money out, buy the next one. If not, it's going to take a really, really long time to buy the next property. As far as the renovations go, what we're gonna do here, the 3 tenants that we inherit, we're not gonna touch any of those apartments. We have tenants in there and we really don't wanna get them out. We did give them a break for the first couple of months, and just now we're gonna increase their rent a little bit. I think we're going from 800 to maybe 900. And what we told the tenants is that we're gonna actually update the parking lot, we're gonna paint the exterior of the building, we're gonna fix the front stairs, and that means that we are providing value to them and updating this place that they're living. In exchange, we want to increase the rent a little bit because it's been very low. But we definitely don't want them to leave, right? Because we like to have some income coming in as we renovate the basement unit and the attic unit. Here in the basement, we're going to put a new kitchen. I mean, if you guys noticed, you know, it needs everything. It needs new kitchen, new baths. We changed the layout from a 1-bedroom to 2-bedroom. So we're making it a lot more functional. So that way we're gonna have a good tenant that's gonna pay market value. Up on the attic space, same thing. It's kind of awkward. It's very low ceiling, so we got some skylight that bring in light, which is great. Again, the focus is on the kitchen, bath. We're gonna put new flooring and then paint. So it's gonna look totally different and way better. And then on the exterior, we're gonna put a new roof. We're gonna update the siding because it's rotted. We got this wood siding, the wood shingle. So we're gonna scrape, paint, repair if it needs to. And then we're gonna do some masonry work so we don't get water here in the basement as they got in the past, and get the water pretty much away from the property. So all this is gonna cost us somewhere between $80,000 and $100,000. Again, we started much lower. I think we thought we were gonna spend somewhere between 70 and 80. As you get into the scope of work, you know, everything kind of goes out the window from day one, and it got into a bigger scale now, but I think we can still keep it about $100,000. And at that point, we're gonna have a good looking building on the outside. We're gonna have 2 out of the 5 units updated, and then slowly as the other 3 tenants that are existing move out, we can go in and update their units. Those are in much better shape, but it's still gonna need the floors to be refinished, the paint to be touched up, and things like that, mostly cosmetic. So that's the plan. That's how we're gonna add value to this property. We're all about value add investing, and that's what we're gonna do on this building. So if you guys liking this, if you like the rental property videos more than the fix and flip, please comment below what's on your mind. I really wanna know what you guys are thinking as far as investing, where you like investing. If you have property in the city of Worcester, please mention that below because I wanna connect and network with you guys. And if you like this, share, subscribe, show us some love. All right, see you on the next one.